What's up, Persist? Me and Ashish just finished a whole match here in the mud, in the rain. Beautiful fucking time. Sorry for the language. AI is gonna auto bleep that in the future, even when you record it. You can't help it. Your phone's like auto lock to bleep your cussing. That'd be funny. But essentially, I made a bet to the other team, and I said, 1,500 rupees if you guys win. Now this is the staff here, so they're kind of excited by this. And it was 5-1, meaning per 5 goals that we scored, they scored 1. The game progressed to end at 7-5. And we scored 2 goals, and they scored 4. It used to be 5-1 ratio, and then it became 0.5. So they were 10 times better at playing the game and at competing because of a small reward that was in front of them. This is so true for teams, and I'll explain to you why. You don't think that you can be 10 times better because you don't understand that you are competing against other teams. They didn't become 10 times better, they became 5% better. But 5% collectively as a team versus us staying the same in the game caused that many more goals, defenses, positioning, all of the factors that come about. So it's not about being 10 times more productive, but only about being 50% more. Elon said this, but he didn't really dive into it. He said, I knew that when I was young, if I simply worked double the amount of hours, that people couldn't compete with me. Why does that matter? It's because every single business is a game only against other people. There's no crabs, there's no natural force, there's no bears who eventually create a capturing of a market that you're going after. It's just other teams. Each of the businesses that you're working on has a defined market share. Typically, for Persist, we're going after stuff in the $1 billion range. And it's only about who's gonna get it. And who's gonna get it is typically the people who get there faster. Actually, it's only that. I won't even say typically. It is only about the speed to build the thing and get the thing out there in the world, which defines who wins. Like, because the markets are so big, there's not one winner. You're grabbing market share. There's a pool. And so what needs to be recognized, like this team, recognize that they were competing against us and they needed to get more points before we got points, meant that they just needed to boost a little bit harder, faster, and their trajectory was gonna outperform. Because it's also not about where you are. It never is. It's about where you're going or your rate of change. That comes down to the speed and the tenacity and the persistence that which your team has. I think a lot of these things, like Elon stating it, how he does it, like me calling it Persist Ventures and thinking about why I am able to be young and beat other big companies at the same game, is something that I haven't always been able to fully explain because I'm just in the midst. I know what I need to do. I kind of understand why I'm gonna win. But now that I'm on the flip side where my goal is to dissect, teach, and deliver the lessons or the wisdoms that you gain throughout the process so that you know earlier rather than later, because every single person who becomes any bit successful in their business or in life realized, damn, early on, if I just took my trajectory and started better then, that would have been awesome. You can't. You have now, and I'm delivering a message to you now. You just spawned in to reality. You have a $1 billion dream before you. And one of the things that I want to re-clarify for all the startup founders and people is that as long as you reach this product market fit, you get 100 users who use your thing daily for a month, you have a viral video that happens about your founder's story, that alone is enough to go get either capital or credibility. Credibility via anyone at MIT, Stanford, or Harvard. You are in India for the most part if you're at Persist. I like going through and finding the people who are better than society has given them a chance to be. Just because these people are at MIT doesn't make them better. All your company needs to do is do something cool to have one of those guys join and value your equity at a certain level. They'll say, we'll give you 10% of the business. They're not gonna value that big time until there's something cool. Now, actually they can. That is something that with our YC co-founder search, I wanna tap deeper into. Rather than trying to find product market fit, you can find status market fit to get to the initial echelon of being given hundreds of thousands of dollars for the company, which allows you to not utilize yourself, but think about how to deploy the capital and really use your intelligence. Your intelligence early on is just getting to the point at which the capital comes in, and then you can start to delegate, to build a bigger team, to grab more of the market that you're either supposed to get money from or already starting to get money from. But to understand you're in a race, and to understand that the amount of market share that you have is only dependent on how much faster you race, because the market share doesn't leave, it just exists. And it's just about the speed. And it's why the massive companies of the world sometimes lose their market share to a young buck, is because new technologies come out and these behemoths are too slow to change their ways, which means when the market shifts and the market share gets opened up into a new piece of the future, the behemoth, super far in front with everything they need, should be able to go eat it. But because their rate of change, of changing their system is too slow, the small startup, the individual founder says, and they just go faster, and they start eating the market share of this behemoth. Some of the stuff we're going after is entirely new markets. There's no behemoth. The behemoths might want a piece of it, because that's what they do. Google turns into Alphabet. They're a venture studio, just like Persist. But their employees, you know, the guy who made AWS, I don't think he really got to own much of any of it. A lot of these Google companies, the new innovations, they don't give you a big percent. That's not how they're set up. That's what's different here. And any single thing we can do to help, and especially our time and energy, is going to go towards the people who we see are the speedy ones. We're going to say, this team's not performing. You're not going to make it. You're not going to capture the market share. Why are we betting? Why are we putting our time and energy into you and helping you formulate your perfect sort of strategy to win? Because that's really what is the biggest value here, is just giving you the direction, to understand where to push, where to say, go do that thing. And it's who says, yes, tell me, give me more, I will sprint and I will run, who will ultimately capture the most of the value and who we will bet more of our time and resources on. And as I said, as you're going after that market share, there's just more and more people who then come and bet on you and say, you can do it. I believe in you. And the more people that bet on you, the easier it gets, the more things you get that help you, the more you just become a thinker and a strategic sort of pusher yourself, just gaining wisdom and knowledge and thinking about the market and the direction of the company and the contacts and the connections that you need and the people you need. Because a company is just built from the talent. So, you have one life. That was the other thing I was thinking about. I was like, why don't we always think to ourselves, how can I just be great? How can I just start my trek towards greatness and then coast? Because to some degree, you'll notice, you might see the richest paid CEOs in the world who are just going to Monaco and these F1 races, and they're just networking with other people. Their job has become to have fun and to socialize. They've reached a liftoff mode where their credentials, their status, and their life path has gone to a degree that they don't even need to do anything besides coast with their past things that they've built. Your company is the same. Any big company, and this is later, so don't expect it to be so soon. But 5 years, 10 years of your life, if you say, I'll just dedicate that. And it gets easier, even though after the first year of max dedication, that's where it's most valuable. Because you're trying to get away from every single other person trying to be their entrepreneur their first year. You're just trying to show that you're built different. And then you'll be bet on more. People will respect that. They'll see the hustle. And besides building a great team, I do think one pathway that we haven't pushed people enough into is to go do status market fit hunting. So that's why I asked everyone to do YC co-founder search. I don't think everyone did it. That stuff really upsets me. It's like you're given the daily update, you're doing the tasks, but it's like, are you treating this like a typical sort of job? Do you not recognize that you're a part of something different? Do you think anyone else is experiencing these sort of lessons and ideas and culture? Or myself, I'm young, but I'm about to go hang out with some of the presidential candidates of America, with Brock Pierce, who made USDT an $80 trillion coin and got investment from Rockefeller Capital. Court Corsi, family office of Eric Schmidt, the founder of Google. I'm the one built different, showing to my other young people that I'm going on a different route, that I'm going faster. I'm speaking to these same things to the degree that you can just do that. And I'm like, do you not realize the benefits? To be able to afford family members if they need special treatment, because there's levels to treatment. The same way there's levels to legal capabilities, as we see. The same sort of problem, a rich kid's father, help him get out of it. That's also true for getting out of a sticky situation with a disease. The sad but truth. There are levels to medical practice and to medical access. And so to some degree, you might not know it, but you're fighting for life and death of either you or mommy, daddy, your brother, your sister, your lover. Wealth, skill, network equals opportunity. We hope, and we will be a part of, as a company, bringing that abundant for everyone. Abundance. But to bring it for everyone, the best way is to try to get it for the self in the right format. Luckily, Persist does not help create any destructive technologies. We build things that help humanity. But wow, to understand that 5% to 10% extra effort from you, your team, from the inspiration from a team, which I think is another big thing to talk about. When a team's winning, when they're scoring goals, when they're celebrating their wins, they're so much more likely to score again. The morale is key. I would love to celebrate more of the wins that are happening in my life with everyone. There's a limited amount of time that I can. But just know, wins are happening in so many different places. I'm watching things evolve and I'm like, whoa, we're going places. That's what's causing me to stand here, to think about these things, to think about every person, to really, I guess, deal with the trauma of the fact that I said, everyone sign up to YC, go start the co-founder search, and that people didn't do it. My team that I'm supporting. And so then I say my morale's not enough. I'm not letting everyone know we're scoring goals. We're gonna win. Look at what's ahead of you. And when I say this is a good direction, everyone should do it, that comes from a lot of different understandings about what is worth an hour of time. Beautiful. Stay up, stay great, and keep up the hard work. Any words, Ashish, to finalize it?
Dead on, 100%. Saw what you said in action. Just a little more motivation went a long way. I think particularly for open droids, you know, the biggest thing I see the failure mode in India, for some reason, this could be just me, but I think, you know, there's such a scarcity mindset. In the US, people read about things more, people see a lot more. Here, we have to just instill a higher level of belief. We got to figure out how to basically bring that belief level to the American level, in some sense, the Western level, that no, this is possible for you. I mean, here, you know, Narendra Modi, who became the Prime Minister of India from a guy who basically made tea, that was the biggest deal for people in terms of what they saw could be done. You know, in America, it'd be, of course, be a big deal, but there's many rags to riches story in that regard, you know? Here, it is the most amazing story of all times. So I think just, you know, just we figure out, and I think you're smart to figure this out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're so spot on, because all action predicates from belief. And funnily enough, when we talk about the things that makes your team win, the belief concept is funny, because it's those who believe that they're going to win that do. And so actually one of the most powerful things you can do is to believe that you're on a good path going to win, and that each step, elevation, extra push, as we saw in the small amount, because it wasn't like they were different people. It was just that when it came down to doing that one extra thing, to go a little bit farther, you know, there's some people who decide, I'll get that done right away today. And that's the difference. Clearly, which team is going to get there? So makes the steps. It's all about your speed. You know, our test is really who's got the capabilities to be young and learn. So I'd say you have everything you need to believe in yourself, that you passed the initial onboarding for Persist, where we make sure we get thousands of applicants. We do multiple job listings to give away 1-2 positions. We're testing for something. If you made it, you have it. If you doubt yourself, stop.